All right, Jim, what are we doing today?
Today, we are going to try and figure out 7 rules for new Scrum Masters.
Hold on, rules? We can't have rules. Scrum is an empirical process.
7 guidelines,
7 things that we think should be rules.
7 things that it might be quite a good idea to bear in mind for new Scrum Masters. 7 things that might be wrong. Let's do it.
Okay, kick it off. What is rule number one for new Scrum Masters?
We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. It's a good idea to use them in that order. We should listen more than we talk. Observe what the team do. Look for trends, look for patterns, listen to what the team don't say, then form our judgments, rather than just jumping in and talking the whole time.
Start off assuming that we don't have all the answers, ask more questions, and as you say, listen more than talk.
A wise man once said to me, there's a thing called the 7 second rule. If we ask a question to the team and the team don't say anything, that doesn't mean they've got nothing to say. What we can do is start counting backwards in our head for 7 seconds. If we reach 0, that means the team probably don't have anything to say and it might be okay for us to carry on talking. However, in reality, that hardly ever happens.
Okay, rule number two, trust the team. The team are the experts. A lot of organizations are great about talking about trust. Yes, we trust the people who work for us. But when it comes to actually trusting them to get the work done, trusting that they're the best people to come up with the solution, trusting the estimates that they come up with, a lot of organizations aren't so great with that. So as a new Scrum Master, you absolutely should start off trusting your team.
So, as a new Scrum Master, what might be some of the signs that we could look out for that there isn't trust within the team? The team don't trust each other, or the wider organization doesn't trust the team. What are the warning signs?
For me, the big one is people not speaking up when you give them an opportunity because they don't have that psychological safety and because they just don't think things are going to change.
Defaulting to a command and control mindset when things get tough, when problems arise, the team aren't trusted to come up with their own solutions, and someone comes in and gives them some advice and tells them what to do. A command and control style default approach would seem to suggest there might not be underlying trust that the team are able to deliver. Also, a team not speaking freely in their retrospective, not talking about real issues, but talking about surface level, superficial stuff about the work, might indicate that there's no vulnerability, or there could be more vulnerability based trust within the team, but the discussions aren't happening because of that lack of trust. That could be a warning sign.
Yep, like it. And rule number three.
Always aim to raise transparency. We can't always change the things that we don't like or the things that we feel aren't working too well, but we can always raise transparency about the situation so that everyone understands the situation that we're in, the reality of our progress, and what work the team need to do in order to achieve their goals. That will help the team collaborate and be more creative. So always aim to raise transparency and spread information around the team about where we are right now.
If we think the deadline is unrealistic, let's be open and honest about that. We might not be able to change it, but let's not be afraid of saying it.
If we said we were going to get a piece of work done and for whatever reason we didn't, let's ensure that the team are fully aware that that's what happened and that's why it happened, so that the team can learn from that. And let's trust the team to understand that we're all in this together. And Duncan, that leads us nicely on to rule number 4.
And that is don't be afraid to experiment, to fail fast, to learn and value that learning. We need a safe space where the team can play around with Scrum, make mistakes, learn, get better, fail, fail fast, learn fast. that's all okay.
There's almost never such a thing as a sprint that's a complete failure. Even if we didn't achieve our goal, even if we didn't deliver the work that we planned to deliver, there's always value in the learning. We can always draw some information, some conclusions, some stuff to try next sprint to prevent this happening again. There's only 3 rules. We fail fast, we fail cheap, and we don't fail the same way twice.
Fantastic. And rule number 5 for new Scrum Masters would be
Challenge the team and encourage a growth mindset. Never settle for that's just the way it's always been around here argument. That may well be the way it's always been around here. However, if we do what we've always done, we'll get what we've always got. Challenge the team, ask the difficult questions, never accept the status quo.
so. Growth mindset is in contrast to a fixed mindset. A growth mindset, you think, well, these are the things I can do now, but there are other things that I can learn. There are other things that I can get better at. We can always improve. You compare that to this fixed mindset where you think these are the things that I'm good at and everything else are the things that I'm not good at. So I'm almost not going to bother trying to improve.
It's a great way of putting it. If we can get to a situation where people in the team are doing one thing, teaching another thing, and learning a third, that creates a real sense of engagement with the team, a real sense of motivation and buy-in, and ownership over their work, and a desire to do well with a focus on quality.
And moving on.
And so that brings us on to number 6, Duncan.
If Scrum was about any single thing, it's about getting stuff done, delivering value every sprint. So if there was a rule for new Scrum Masters, it would be help your team get stuff done and deliver value every sprint and remove the impediments to them getting stuff done.
Perfect. If we boil Scrum down to 3 words, it's getting stuff done. That's the heart of all of this.
And delivering value. 6 words.
Genius.
And now that we've got our first 6 rules, what's the icing on top of the cake, the cherry on top of the icing? Rule number 7 is?
Rule number 7 is the oxymoronic, there are no rules.
Well, absolutely. Even though we're laying down the law with these 7 rules, the 7th rule is that these aren't really rules. There are no rules because Scrum is an empirical process. It's about being transparent and open and then inspecting and adapting. You find what works for you. You find what works for the team.
In Scrum, there's no best practice. There's no one size fits all. Every organization is different. Every team is different. Every product is different.
Absolutely.
Okay, Duncan, what's the moral of this story?
The moral is there are no rules on how to be a great Scrum Master. There are no rules on how to be effective with Scrum. As a new Scrum Master, you want to be humble. You want to listen more than you talk. You do want to trust your team because any empirical process is built on that trust. You always want to be raising transparency, even when you can't change things. You want to create that safe space. You want to experiment. Sometimes you'll fail. That's absolutely fine. And any learning is going to be built on this growth mindset. And Scrum is all about getting stuff done and learning. I'm not sure we really can encapsulate these as rules, but I think this is a great place for any new Scrum Master to start off.
Inspirational stuff, Duncan. And that's Scrum Chat.
Wow.
There's 6 rules and 1 rule that says ignore the previous rules because there aren't any rules.
6 rules which aren't rules.
And a 7th rule, which is a rule.
Wow. Deep.